Hello, it's Scott Manley here with episode 27 of Interstellar Quest, the quest to get ridiculous amounts of science so that we may develop the mythical warp drive. Yes, because this is a video game, warp drive is achievable just simply by gaining science, and we're going to gain science by going to the most distant edges of the Kerbal system, a place where no Kerbal has gone before, or is likely to go in the near future. This is going to be a year-and-a-half long voyage to Eeloo, the icy planet that is distant from the sun, frozen, perhaps tectonically active, we don't know. This is a nuclear-powered spacecraft. We've got we're not fitting a science lab. We're going to have like multiple experiments on it, a giant antenna, and most of all, we're going to have a whole nuclear-powered system and everything powering this. Anyway, we are coming up on stage separation of this launch. We're just deploying the antenna here. But I think I shall switch back to old me to actually do this. Okay, coming up on stage sep. Main engine cut out in a few seconds. And mark. Okay. Oh, wow, I did not expect that. Okay, well, not only have we lost two of our experiment pods, we've actually lost our main engine. And there's no backup on this, so I shall call that a launch failure. Although technically, the thing was pretty well on its way towards, interplanetary space. I mean, then again, actually, we had passed our... Yeah, I think I'm going to need a bigger rocket and more solid rocket boosters and an engine which doesn't explode. Engines that don't explode, probably a good thing. Unfortunately, we are going to scatter the contents of that nuclear engine over this ocean here, so we will expect more beasties that will evolve to be the Kraken at some point. It's nice to watch this thing descend through the atmosphere, though, anyway. Especially to see if a deadly re-entry leaves its mark on it. Go on, deadly re-entry, make things exciting for us. Go on, melt something, I dare you. Ooh, something looked like it was bending there. No, I guess not. It looked like the rear was going to snap, but no. Well, that's pretty dull. Ha, well, you survived re-entry. I bet you think you're pretty hot. I mean, tough. I mean, you're probably hot as well because of re-entry, but... Yeah, you're some hotshot streaking through the atmosphere now, huh? You survived re-entry. I bet you're wondering what's going to happen next. You can't tell. You can't do anything about it. Yeah, I'm just totally torturing my probes, right? I mean, this will come back and bite me when I invent the AI in Interstellar mod. Anyway, yes. Hello, meet the ocean. Yes, okay. Well, moving swiftly on. Okay, bigger rocket, more SRBs, solid rocket boosters. Somebody asked what that was earlier. Solid rocket boosters, if you don't know, for those people who ask, solid rocket boosters are rockets where the fuel is solid and it burns and there's no throttle control, so they just provide lots of thrust for a very short time early on in the system. It's best not to carry them into space because their specific impulse is lower than any liquid propulsion system, and you can't throttle them and everything else. Anyway, those have carried me up into a much more graceful and high arc. We're going to be traveling a lot faster once we reach stage separation this time, and I have a special trick for dealing with the separation anxiety. So let's see. Okay, so this time, I've not modified the upper stage design in any way. What I'm going to do... See, the explosion in the previous one was caused by the fairing, right? The fairing comes around the nuclear engines. I don't think there's any way to remove it, even with the tweakables. So I'm just going to manually trigger the stage separation in this case, right? That means I have to manually separate things, manually activate the engine, but not jettison anything. So, okay, no, not jettison. There we go. Decouple. Whoa, nice explosion. Yes. Now, activate the engine. Haha, excellent. And I notice now the nuclear engines generate electric power. That is something I hadn't noticed. And that must be a change, because that previously was not the case. As silly as it might seem, nuclear engines previously did not generate nuclear power. I'm pretty sure of that. Oh, they generated nuclear power. They did not generate electrical power via nuclear means. So, also to note here is we have temporarily disabled remote tech due to compatibility issues. We've had weird problems where we would lock up the entire system. So remote tech is not deployed. The parts are still in there, but they don't do anything. Yes, my former self was explaining how remote tech is disabled. Remote tech was apparently, when it's installed right now and I do crazy aerodynamic stuff, the game locks up completely after one flight. And since it takes about 2 minutes to load, I'm not fond of having to restart and reload every 2 minutes after I, mess up a flight. So we've disabled it. We're still putting the parts on the spacecraft so that once we re-enable it, we won't have spacecraft that we've launched that are halfway over the solar system missing an antenna, because that would suck. Anyway, you can see here we've made our orbital insertion, and now I'm trying to adjust my orbits that we can actually head out towards Eeloo. Now, as it happens, we are pretty close to, well, that's a dual encounter, but you see how the descending node of Eeloo is pretty much almost in line with us. So just by sliding the escape vector, the escape node, back and forth across the orbit, we can actually hit the encounter at that node, and therefore we don't need to make a mid-course plane change maneuver. We just need to make the plane change maneuver when we actually arrive at Eeloo. And at that time we will also be performing the capture maneuver. So it's easy to, it'll actually save us a bit, simply because most people don't do plane change maneuvers combined with other orbit change maneuvers, and when you combine maneuvers you get much better performance. However, the escape maneuver was going to be something like a 15-minute burn, and so actually if I started that when I was supposed to, it would have been awful. So we start slightly later so that we don't knock ourselves down into the atmosphere, and then we continue all the way out. Here's the orbit expanding its way out past my geostationary orbit distance, continuing off, picking up velocity, and of course in its inexorable rise towards the icy depths of deep space. It's a good thing that it has a nuclear reactor on that engine, because otherwise it will be a pretty cold place up there. Yes, well, much later, after burning for almost 10 minutes, you see we're actually, the planet is now moving to reveal the sun and the moon coming up once more. And in fact, we're going fast enough that as we continue, as we continue off towards the outside, well, the moon is actually closer to us, so parallax means that it's going to be moving faster in an angular speed, and therefore, momentarily, we will be expecting a beautiful solar eclipse. How about that? The magnificent cosmic ballet continues, and I am one of the dancers in that ballet, except I'm not wearing a tutu or weird codpiece or anything like that. No, I am an emotionless hunk of metal powered by nuclear engines and high-tech semiconductors are my soul. Dancing, ballet, that's not for me. I'm all about thrusting and flying and maneuvering and encountering things at great speed. No, I'm not wanting to go to Joule. No. Anyway, we have finished our burn. So what we're going to do now is ditch some excess weight. It turns out that we burned a bit more than I expected, but I did design these tanks to be ditchable, so I didn't wire them up that way. I probably should have, but lazy and all that. So now I have to do it now. We have to manually pump the fuel around using our super high-end AI technology. Yes, I don't know. Here I am, the brain the size of a planet, and they make me pump fuel around and jettison things. I don't know why I even bother. Okay, so after our encounter with the sun and with Moho, we have some science. This is the new science we collected from Moho, and we have a bit here and there. We've got about over 900 science. And yeah, there's obviously a few things we've missed, right? We could definitely get some more. Well, we could get a whole lot of stuff here, basically. Anyway, that does give us just enough to unlock one node. We have to be very careful. Now, the hypersonic flight would give us the rapier and the saber and all that stuff. Metamaterials gives us a bunch of parts, which would be kind of interesting, but large stack decouplers, heat shields, and things like that would be very nice. Hypersonic flight, as I said, includes air scoops and things like that. Heavy aerodynamics is interesting because it actually gives me large fairings. Experimental electronics is just beyond our reach, but if I save up for a little more, I could reach it. Particle accelerators, antimatter, not even close. Large probes, nope, not going to do that. Yeah, advanced materials, hypersonic flight again. Oh, that is so tempting. It's so tempting to actually build a space plane because it's so easy to use that thing. Heavy aerodynamics, as I said, it gives me larger cargo bays and it gives me the larger fairings. Now, the large fairings are going to be very important because there's a couple of things from Interstellar that I need those to launch. I need the large fairings to launch the microwave transmitters and the refineries. What else? Composites. There's more bits and pieces here. Oh, look, we have all the structural panels. And the cubic octagonal strut, finally. But I think I'm going to... I don't know about that one. Yep. Metamaterials. Yes, very nice. Very nice. Oh, look, we have the quad... The inline clampetron. Oh, we have all these new docking adapters that would be nice to have. And very heavy rocketry does include larger engines, including the mainsail, and starts to unlock 3.25 meter tanks and stuff. So, or 3.75. So, you see, this is the dilemma. I really can only do one. Honestly, to get more science, I'm going to really start taking advantage of the fact that Minmus now has a bunch of biomes, and, honestly, the moon has a few things. Rapier, really would like, and that should probably be where the saber goes, but B9's saber is broken at this time. Okay, come on. Do I want giant fairings? Or do I want rapiers? Do I want super spacecraft, or do I want to be able to put giant things into space on rockets that really look like they're the wrong shape and size? This is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to take it. Research! There, now I shall build hugely unbalanced rockets. So, now I've unlocked the large cargo bay. I have started doing some testing. Now, the thing is, I just want to demonstrate that not all testing goes quite to plan. Well, first of all, you see I've got this thing has a monopropellant tank at the back, and I kind of built it in and then attached all the rockets and then realized that perhaps having all that weight there was not ideal. Let's fly this thing around and see exactly how it does. Now, this spacecraft does have one advantage. Whoa, gets off the runway just fine. Now, this is not intended to be a horizontal takeoff landing vehicle. It is intended to be a space plane of sorts. Whether we launch with solid rocket boosters or whatever, I don't know. But right now, we're really wanting to test how it glides in the atmosphere, and the answer is it's flying terribly. I've flown quite a few tests so far, and this thing wants to roll randomly one way or another. I'm not sure what it is. I've tried adjusting the wings so that adjusting the dihedral nature of the wings, and that hasn't helped very much. I think the center of mass is perhaps too high or too far forwards. But Jebediah and Bill are having a lot of fun doing this, and I've lost it already. 14 kilometers up, and I've totally lost control of it, but I get it the right way around again. This is why I started dumping that fuel from the monopropellant tank. Unfortunately, using TAC fuel balancer it takes a really, really, really long time to dump that amount of fuel. So I'm using the RCS as well, just to try and get as much efficiency as possible. Just pushing myself forwards to try and keep my forwards velocity sufficiently high. I'm hoping to come on over the top, and then we'll return back to the runway and land it very carefully. But given that this is a test flight, I have the Vanguard Aerospace, the Vanguard Technologies parachutes and ejector system installed. Look, monopropellant, we're down to like 50% of our monopropellant mass. Now, these wings are way far back. I've put them about as far back as I can on this, and unfortunately, it does not. Well, it doesn't. It does not seem to be. There we go. Yes, it just wants to flip backwards, and I don't know what's going on. I think this is the latest version of Ferrum, so that's like 1.12.5.1, which is like a bug fix release. And, lifting body stuff got re-enhanced in this after my video demonstrating how interesting and cool they are. Unfortunately, that seems to make this thing almost impossible to fly. Even with the wings so far back, the thing it keeps on wanting to go ass backwards into the ground. And this is not the first time this has happened. I've been progressively moving the wings back, and obviously I'm using the center of mass indicator in the vehicle assembly building, but that doesn't work. So anyway, we punch out, and watch this thing in the background. I'm gonna more or less fall with it for a while because deploying the parachutes will slow us down. We enjoy the free fall. Jebediah likes to live dangerously. Incidentally, if you have the ejector system installed on the capsule, you can use the abort button by default to eject, or that's backspace, if you didn't know, will trigger the abort procedure. And if you hold space and F, right, that's like jump and move, then you will deploy the parachutes off every Kerbal nearby. So you don't have to, right click and switch between each of the Kerbals, right? That's shift or that's space and F at the same time, so they'll land safely. And yes, so they survived that. And that wasn't so bad, was it? And whoa, great. That is looking marvelous there. It's surprising how much of this survived. Obviously, cushioned the lightweight fuselage with the strength of those engines. And those engines are also pushing us down the runway once more. So we've made some modifications. The weight distribution is slightly different. And obviously we have Sidzi and Bill, or Sidzi and Bob instead of Jebediah. We've been doing a lot of testing, and I don't know where Jebediah is right now. I'm pretty sure he hasn't died because I've just been ejecting them. This is really the problem. Like I said that I was going to be doing like a certain limited number of launches. But when developing these things, it takes a really, really long time to get the aerodynamic bugs sorted out. And I keep on meaning to do just like a live stream where I fool around with these things to try and make it work. But last night when I was trying to do it, the thing was crashing all the time. And you'll notice that in this one, we have no remote tech at this time. So remote tech icon has gone away. We don't have this information. Let's turn off these engines. I probably should actually assign it to an action group. Now, flying on the nuclear engines at this altitude is more efficient in terms of specific impulse. Barely keeps us going, barely keeps us in the air, but it's enough for us to complete our turn very carefully. And there's the runway there. We're going to be aiming for the runway and hopefully landing on it. There's Jebediah Kerman there, and obviously there was a crash into the ocean, or he ditched it into the ocean and he survived, presumably by using the Vanguard parachute system. It is a great endorsement that it has saved Jebediah so many times because, not very much of the aircraft survives. The undercarriage frequently survives, but unless he can live inside the undercarriage, that's not going to help. Okay. So we're just lining ourselves up. I don't think I have enough energy just yet to actually make that landing. We want to be we want to slow down just enough. Now, there is one new addition here that I have added. There is one extra mod, which I'm about to demonstrate. And, well, this is its debut. I have added the real chute mod, and that includes working drag chutes for slowing down and braking. So here we go, coming in 190 meters per second, 85, 87, touchdown at 85. Oh, and we lost something, and we're almost losing that wingtip. But those drag chutes are slowing us down quite efficiently, especially since I haven't actually hit the brakes. There we go. Survived the landing thanks to those drag chutes. Without that, we would have probably lost the wingtip. All we lost was that Kerbal engineering system computer. Anyway, that's what I've been working on. We still haven't perfected this shuttle. It's been a long amount of effort on it. Hopefully we'll see it in a future episode. Until then, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.